Welcome to Small Town Whispers, where history, folklore, and the paranormal collide. I'm Bethany Borden, and I lived in Watseka, Illinois from 1988 to 1999. For over a decade, I walked the same streets, saw the same houses, and even had friends connected to the story we're about to dive into. This isn't just history for me, it's personal. Welcome back to Small Town Whispers. I'm Bethany, and I wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone who listened to episode 1. If you missed it, make sure you go back and listen now, so you will be up to speed with who I am and where we are in our story. Today is one of my favorite days of the year. It's Halloween! Ooh! And today, it's the perfect day to listen to a true, scary story. Today's episode is really going to put your nerves on edge, so give your eyes a break from that screen, let your imagination run wild, and get ready for the second episode based on the Watseka Wonder. Last time, we met Mary, a young girl whose life was marked by something no doctor could explain. She would fall into strange fits, grow violent, and even seemed to take on voices that weren't her own. It looked very much like possession. But before we return to Mary's story, let's step back. To understand her life, we need to understand her family, how the Roffs came to be in Watseka, and the hardships that shaped them long before Mary's first episode. It starts with her father, Asa. Asa's life was scarred by tragedy from the very beginning. When he was only 3 years old, his father was killed, kicked in the head by a horse. His widowed mother, overwhelmed with 2 older boys to feed, sent Asa away to live with an uncle in Rochester, New York. But this was no warm family home. Asa became more servant than son. His uncle forced him to hand over every cent of his wages from a local shoemaker. He wasn't allowed to attend school, though his aunt secretly taught him to read. And all the while, the smell of leather, the confines of Rochester, and the cruelty of his uncle grew unbearable. He wasn't alone in his misery. Another boy, indentured like him, once tried to escape. He was caught, dragged back, and publicly whipped. His spirit never recovered. Not long after, he was found hanging in the blacksmith's shop. The blacksmith himself dead beside him, his head shattered on the anvil. That haunted Asa. But he reminded himself, at least his sentence wasn't for life. At least he wasn't in chains like so many others. If he could just endure until his 19th birthday, he would finally be free. And when that day came in 1837, Asa wasted no time. With $3 saved, he spent 75 cents at a bar, told his uncle to go to hell, and set out on his own. He worked his way east to Albany, then west to Detroit, Fort Wayne, and finally down the Wabash River, where fate introduced him to a young girl named Ann Fenton. Ann was just 14 when Asa met her. They planned to marry when she turned 16, but an early pregnancy pushed them to the altar sooner. Asa cobbled shoes while their family began to grow. They buried 2 infant sons, but welcomed 2 daughters, Nervie and Mary. It was then that Mary suffered her first strange episode. As a baby, she slipped into a state of complete unconsciousness. 12 long days without food, water, or movement. doctors and neighbors came to see the miracle child who refused to wake. On the 12th day, she opened her eyes, cried, and ate as if nothing had happened. Asa took it as a sign. It was time to move west once again to Illinois. There, in the settlement of Middleport, he hoped to build something lasting for his family. And it's there, in Middleport, that our story picks back up. I'll now read from Watseka, America's most extraordinary case of possession and exorcism, beginning on page 18. If you thought last week's excerpt was unsettling, hold on tight. This next one takes us even deeper. In 1852, after 5 years in Middleport, Asa bought a half interest in a sawmill that was being constructed in the middle of a woods everybody called Watseka. Nobody lived there, and it took him a good hour by horseback to get to the mill. The land was cheap, and he bought many acres. If Middleport kept growing, people would eventually farm the Watseka land he was clearing. He hadn't been able to raise the entire amount by himself, so went into partnership with a man named Josiah Matzenbaugh. He had come to Middleport from the east and seemed to have money to buy land and buildings. Everyone said he probably was Jewish. Josiah was a young man, just turned 20, but a big man. He was tall and broad-shouldered, the kind of man who got instant respect no matter where he went and no matter how much money he had in his pocket. Josiah didn't want to run the business. Asa could do that. All he wanted was the profits from his investment. He considered Asa, 7 years his senior, as an older brother, and it was while he was visiting one Sunday for supper that Mary had her next serious fit. "Now don't go fussing around Uncle Josiah's things, Mary," her mother called as she saw the 6-year-old girl near the man's hat and coat. He had thrown them over a chair by the door, as he always did when he came visiting. The few pegs on the wall of the room were filled with the Roth's own things. The idea of built-in closets hadn't yet come to Middleport.
"I ain't doing nothing."
"Just see that you don't." Anne was busy with the potatoes, while Nervie put the plates on the table. The two men were in the backyard inspecting a broad sow Asa had recently purchased. Even though they lived in town, they had chickens and pigs and a milk cow in the backyard. So did everybody else.
"Blood."
Her mother didn't turn around. Nervie was the first to scream and dash toward her younger sister. She stepped back as Mary brandished the knife just inches from her face.
"Don't you touch me, Nervie. You keep away, you hear?"
In Mary's hand, a knife glistened. The tip was red with blood. The blood came from Mary's left arm, from the large cut she had made in it. Anne rushed to the girl, but she was held back by the knife. "Mary? Mary, you give me that thing right now. Oh, Lord in heaven, just look at what you did to your arm. Give me that thing or I'll thrash you."
"You come any closer, woman, and it'll be your blood on the end of this here knife."
Anne stepped back against the kitchen table. She was unable to think for a few seconds, so shaken was she by the drastic change in her daughter's voice. "She sounds like an old lady, Ma," Nervie said. "Now, Mary, you cut out this foolishness. You cut it out right now. You hear?" Anne was shouting now.
"The only thing that'll be cut out will be your heart if you come any closer."
It wasn't Mary's voice. "I'm going to bring your pa in here, and he'll settle your hash, young lady," Anne threatened, her eyes still on the blood that was dripping from her daughter's arm onto the kitchen floor.
"Ha ha 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 ha! My pa's been dead for more years than I care to remember. Ha 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 ha! My pa!"
Anne backed toward the kitchen door. "Mr. Roth!" she screamed. "Mr. Roth, come in here! Quick!" Even under stress, Anne remembered her manners. Married ladies never called their husbands by their first names when company was present. "What is it? Supper about ready?" Asa called back. "Will you and Josiah please come in here? It's Mary. Something's happened to Mary." Both men came running into the kitchen, not stopping to scrape the mud from their boots. They stopped almost at the same time and stared at the girl in the corner. "That's my knife she's got," said Josiah. "I left it in my coat pocket." He glanced over at Anne. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have left it there." "Now come on, Mary," Asa commanded. "Give me that knife. It don't belong to you, and you already hurt yourself. Give it to me." He walked over to the girl, his hand outstretched to receive the knife. Mary slashed the air in front of his fingers.
"You keep your distance. I got this knife and I'm going to keep it."
She slashed again at the empty space between herself and Asa. "Now, Mary, I ain't about to tell you again. Give me that."
"Mary? Why do you people keep calling me Mary? Ain't none of you got no sense?"
"'Cause your name's Mary," shouted Nervie, "and you'd better be careful about talking back to Pa."
"Ain't nothing worse than a brat. My name ain't Mary."
"It is too," Nervie shouted. "Your name is Mary Roff, and Pa is really gonna get you." The girl lunged toward the group, which pulled back together as if tied to the same string.
"I told you my name ain't Mary. Now stop calling me that. Don't like that name."
Asa started toward the girl, but Josiah held him back. "Wait, Asa," he cautioned. "Don't do anything. Don't go near her just yet." He was looking at the girl in a new way, as if seeing her for the first time. "Just stay calm, and let's see what'll happen." "What'll happen?" Asa demanded. "Yes, back east in New York City, I saw something like this once. It was at a spirit meeting. A lady got taken over by a spirit, and it changed her whole way of speaking." "A spirit? What in hell are you talking about?" "A spirit came down from some place and took over the lady's body and made her say all sorts of things. Do crazy things, too." Both Anne and Asa were looking at him. "I seen it with my own eyes. It looked just like this thing that's got Mary." "Oh, Josiah," Anne was indignant. "There ain't no spirit got Mary. There ain't no such thing as spirits." "That's right," Asa agreed. "Ain't no such thing as spirits." Then after a moment he added, "Anyway, spirits are the work of the devil, and Mary is a Christian child." "The spiritualists are Christian too," Josiah said, never taking his eyes from Mary. "They believe in Jesus just like you do, but they don't believe that all spirits is from the devil." "Well, where can they be from then?" Anne asked. "From the spirit world. They can even be the relatives and friends who have passed into the spirit world, passed away, died." Mary had stopped brandishing the knife and was listening in fascination to what Josiah was saying.
"I believe that. I believe that because I've seen spirits. Back home, I saw spirits more than once."
"Now, Mary," Anne started to say, but Josiah signaled for her to be still. "Back home?" he asked slowly. "Where do you come from, if you ain't from around here?"
"Germany."
The reply was instant and definite. "Germany?" Josiah repeated.
"Near Koblenz, near the border. You ever been there?"
"No," said Josiah. "Never been out of these United States. But my father was born in Germany. He came from Eltville, near Wiesbaden."
"Ah, yes, that's on the Rhine. My folks and I been through there once when we was on the way to Mannheim."
Anne became exasperated. "Now, Mary Roff, you stop that lying. You know you've never been to Germany, and neither have we."
"It ain't none of my concern where you have been, but my folks and I come from Germany."
"Mr. Roff," Anne insisted, "do something." All Asa could do was look at Josiah, who shook his head. "I believe you were born in Germany," he said soothingly. "What's your name? Will you tell me?"
"Katrina Hogan."
"How old are you?"
63 years old.
"How did you get from Germany over to Illinois?"
"Through the air. I always come through the air."
Neither Asa or Anne said anything. I wish you'd go back to Germany now. You ain't doing this little girl much good."
"What little girl?"
The voice became strident again. "The little girl whose body you are in." Look what you did to her arm. It's bleeding. Mary looked at her arm and saw the blood.
Oh, did I do that?
Yes, with that knife. Mary looked at the knife. Her eyes grew wide and she opened her grip on the handle. It fell to the floor.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt nobody.
Of course you didn't. Will you go now? Mary looked at her parents.
Yes, I'm sorry for what I did to your little girl. I didn't mean to do her no harm.
Mary's body stiffened and swayed. Josiah took 2 strides forward and caught her before she fell. Anne began to cry and caress her daughter's forehead. She's fainted, Josiah said. Better get her to bed. He carried her rigid body into the room she shared with Nervie and placed her on her bed. She's like she's carved out of stone, he said. She ain't moving nothing. He started toward the door and the horse he had left tied to the post in front of the house. I'll go and fetch Doc Pitwood. Maybe he can be some help. Asa hurried after him, catching him by his sleeve. Josiah, this ain't the first time Mary's been sick like this. Once back in Indiana, she was like a board for 12 days after a fit. Did she talk like somebody else before? She weren't even 6 months old then. Don't tell Doc Pitwood. Don't tell him what? That business about the spirit. Just tell him she had a fit and to bring the right medicine. Josiah looked into Asa's eyes and smiled. I understand, he said. Don't worry. He laid a large hand on Asa's shoulder. Well, there you have it. That was the second reading from Watseka. Are you hooked yet? I have a feeling you might be. I wish I could tell you more, but not yet. Trust me, you're not going to believe this is based on a true story. I've been having so much fun making this podcast. I've been on a lifelong spiritual journey, and I've always loved the paranormal. The two collide in this book, which makes it really intriguing to me. Of course, it helps that I lived in the town and even recently visited the Roth house. More about that in a future episode. If you haven't already, make sure you follow or subscribe to Small Town Whispers so you'll be the first to hear each new chapter every Friday. Grab a friend or listen alone if you dare and settle in, because what's coming next is a doozy. I could also use your help. Let's do what small towns do best. Spread the word. If you like what you hear, please tell someone about it. My goal is to keep the history of the town and this story alive, but also to connect to others who have stories to share. If you've got a moment, please leave a review. It really helps us grow. And remember, in every small town, some whispers never fade. They just wait for someone to listen.
Now, join me under the porch light, the place where memories meet the present and voices from the past still linger in the dark. Tonight, we listen, not to the pages from a book, but to the people who have felt the unexplained and found the courage to share it. Welcome to Porchlight Whispers.
This week's segment of Porchlight Whispers is going to be short, sweet, and to the point. In episode 1, we talked about Lantern's Lane. I let you know I have not seen the lantern, and I've been out there at least a couple times. I want to hear from people who have seen the lantern. So if you've been out to Lantern's Lane and seen it, please let us know on Facebook, Instagram, or the website. If you've had an experience at the mailbox that I spoke about in episode 1, let me know. I've never seen it. And if you're from another small town, in another state, or even another country, and you have a legend or you have a story to tell, please contact us. We would love to hear your story. Until next time.
That was this week's edition of Porchlight Whispers. Do you have an experience of your own to tell? We want to hear your stories. Share your experience and let your small town whispers become part of ours.
And with that, the porch light dims, but the whispers stay with us. Join us again next time when another voice steps into the light.